All right, thank you very much, Marissa. Our next guest has a lot of great things to mention about him at the top. Number one, a professional mixed martial artist. He's doing commentary for the UFC 318 in New Orleans coming up on Saturday. But the most important thing about him, besides his awesome name, the Irish Dragon, is that he's born in Philadelphia.
Yeah!
And has even other ties to Philadelphia in his professional work as an actor.
Yes.
On Hacks with Kaitlin Olson.
Yeah.
Ties to Philadelphia, obviously.
And it's always sunny in Philadelphia.
It's always sunny. So please welcome the Irish Dragon himself, Mr. Paul Felder is joining us. Hey, Paul, how you doing, man?
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for having me on. And I'm always listening to you guys with my wife when we're driving the kids around and doing stuff in the morning. So
awesome.
Absolutely great to be on here live with you guys. So
thanks,
big fan.
Man.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, you were telling me the other day that you were listening. It was a couple of days ago, so I assumed you were still in the area. I know you're in New Orleans now. I do have a question for you, though. Were you still in Philadelphia on Tuesday night, and did you happen to be cycling with a bunch of people in Philadelphia on Tuesday?
No, I mean I was. I didn't leave until Wednesday night. But I was out cycling. I think I was cycling indoors on Tuesday, so that wouldn't have been me if you saw me out on the road.
So I was at a Fish concert. We were in the parking lot at the Man tailgating. And my buddy knows that I cycle. He goes, yo, check out all these guys. And I saw this pack of people. And this dude in the front, I was like, I think that's Paul Felder right there. So it's pretty great to watch you transition from, an active fighter in the UFC to what you're doing now, which is triathlons, like, endurance athletics. Like, I just assume as a fighter you needed to work on your stamina and endurance anyway. So how hard or easy was that transition for you?
Oh, it was super hard because I couldn't swim to save my life at all. We've kind of talked about that, how terrible. That's obviously the weakest point for me. But I think just learning something new and not being good at something new really is what got me obsessed with it, right? I've done martial arts since I was a little kid. At 12 years old, I started karate and taekwondo and stuff like that. And you do it day in and day out. And even though you love it, even, your passion, when it becomes your job like that, can start to get a little bit old. So when I got into running and biking and doing all that, I went 100%. And it was not easy. I was not good at it at all at first. I got pretty good at it over the last few years, though. I mean, podiuming in my age group and stuff like that, some smaller races, getting top 3 or 4 in those races. So yeah, it's an ongoing journey. It's something I plan on doing until I'm pretty much dead, guys.
Well, it's probably it is obviously in your DNA. And I was, I guess, reading an interview with you, and you were talking about, you kind of the jonesing to perhaps return to fighting comes most when you're just working out and training. And so this seems like a good way to tap off some of that energy, because you make it clear you really don't want to return to fighting, correct?
Yeah, and for so many reasons, right? I mean, I left, I feel like right when I needed to. I always wanted to be fighting for the belt. I wanted to be fighting the top guys and not just fighting to make money and be out there for no reason. I had the commentary job since 2017, so the active fighting was always just to be the best. And once that seemed like it was a little out of my grasp with my age, with where I was in the rankings, I would have just been taking damage. And if you guys have seen me fight, I was in some bloody fights, some wars. I took some pretty significant injuries. I've had a collapsed lung, broken forearm, several fractures in my face throughout the years. So I think for family's sake, for my wife, my mom, and the kids, it was I hung it up at the right time, but it's always there. I mean, the itch is always going to be there, and you have to realize that it's not going to go away. I could be 50, 60, and I'm still going to sit there and be like, I think I still got it.
But talking to you right now, and this is something I just thought about, because you have the chops, obviously, you have the capabilities. But I think for someone who wants to cheat, if their service could provide the cauliflowering of your ears.
Oh, my God.
Because they always say never pick a fight with the dude.
No.
You look at their ears and their hands.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes, the
know.
hand's the good one.
Yep.
Hand's
Right.
the good one.
Right. So it just
Look at that.
maybe that's a cottage industry we can go into.
I almost threw down with a guy in a parking lot one time, and his hand was in my face, and I'm just sizing the guy up.
Yeah.
I'm like, I could probably take this dude. And then I look, and he's wearing a boxing gym shirt, and I was like, oh, I'm like, this argument's over. I apologize, sir.
It's good that you realize that, because there's plenty of guys that keep it going. and then-
Yeah. What is that about? Yeah. It's insane.
I want to ask, like, as you're ringside, you're commenting on things, and you've been in the fight. You ever get any PTSD from it? Like when you watch somebody, getting it handed to them?
Yeah, I mean, I think early on, especially when I was still actively fighting and doing commentary at the same time, is when you probably get that the most. When maybe, in 3-4 months, you've got your own fight coming up and you're sitting here calling another lightweights fight or a guy that you've fought before. Like I've called a lot of Edson Barboza's fights.
Yeah.
And I fought him twice. And I've been kicked in the liver by that guy so many times. I've urinated blood because of that guy.
Jeez. Wow.
I've had to have plastic surgery on a cut on my forehead because of that guy. So when I see him in there kicking dudes to the body, you'll hear me audibly react on air calling the fights live because I can't help it.
Yep.
Let me ask you a question, because you brought that up and you fought lightweight. And so karate, taekwondo, Muay Thai, I guess, as well, a little bit.
Yes. Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
we always hear that the stew that really makes the best is jujitsu and wrestling. But so you had a different set of skills. Do those skills work better for a lightweight? In other words, is there something where you cross the line weight wise, where the jujitsu and groundwork becomes more important?
No. I think in MMA, and I think just even the sport is always just evolving even today. Like if you went in with the skills I had early in my UFC career to debut now in the UFC, I'd have gotten my butt absolutely handed every which way from Sunday. Just the game is moving on. These guys nowadays, right? They're not going in from a karate background, a boxing background, or I did some high school wrestling background. These kids are training MMA from the time that they're 5 years old. When I was doing this stuff, I mean, it was still, soccer kicks to the face of a sumo wrestler guy and one guy wearing a boxing glove. That's the UFC that I was watching when I first got into the sport.
Right.
I was like, I remember early on, I was like, I don't want to do that. So I never really got into wrestling or anything like that. It just happened to be my journey of martial arts and how I got into it. But a lot of guys early on came from wrestling backgrounds. Jiu-jitsu just wasn't as popular when I was a kid. I had to kind of learn all that stuff as I got into it. And I went to school for acting. So I had to really double down and try to learn it all really fast, because I was in my mid-20s when I started training mixed martial arts, and then went from being at University of the Arts studying theater to taking amateur fights to a few years later, fast forward, I'm fighting in the premier organization in the world for mixed martial arts. It was pretty much a whirlwind on how it all kind of went down. So I never had the chance to really learn that stuff early, but I got pretty good at it defensively mostly as I was fighting.
It's wild, yeah, because I didn't know that you went to the University of the Arts until just a few days ago when I was looking at your. I was like,
it's gone.
Yeah.
but I want to ask about, like, when you are in that octagon, right? And there's 20,000 people just screaming and chanting, and you're going through all that. Like, I don't know if you can block that stuff out, but I'm wondering, like, I loved boxing when I was growing up, like Mike Tyson, that was the heyday. And then now it's like UFC, and I watch that. And now my son is into UFC, so I watch it with him. And I still, to this day, when I see a guy get knocked out and then the dude comes up with the hammer fist, I'm like, no, don't hit him. I'm like, he's already out. He's already out. You don't. And then, the ref doesn't get in there in time. Do you love watching that, or do you cringe the same way I do?
No. I think just as a human, you cringe, right?
Yeah.
Anybody and especially having been in there or having friends that have gone through that, obviously I've been in this game a while, and I've seen a lot of really close friends of mine and teammates have that happen to them. I've done it to guys, and it's.
What are you thinking in that moment? Like, when you do that, you're not thinking, right?
Bro, all I can describe it is, fighting is almost. You're there, but you're not. It's almost an outer body experience all at the same time. And when you see your opponent get hurt for a split second, all you are thinking, at least for me, was I want this done for sure.
Okay.
Right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
I'm about to get all my money. I'm about to get my hand raised. There's no decision that's about to be made. He's hurt. You see guys hit the floor, they wake back up. And I know in the moment, it doesn't look like that from the audience. You're thinking, how did you not know that guy was unconscious? How could you hit him again?
Yeah.
I think there's some cases where it's a little bit blatant that maybe it wasn't necessary. But I'm telling you, Gregory Rodriguez just had one recently where Jack Hermanson was out.
Yeah.
And he walked slowly over and lifted his arm and then hammer fisted it and like smashed him one more time. It didn't need to happen.
Right.
But I do feel for the guy. He just wanted that fight
Done.
complete.
Well,
Yeah.
and then also, not for nothing, and I don't know if you remember this, but years ago, Kelly Pavle, he's a boxer out of Youngstown, Ohio. I watched this guy get absolutely pummeled in the ring in the second round, and I was like, this fight's over. The guy didn't close the door, right? And Kelly Pavle came back and ended up winning that fight. And you've seen it happen in UFC as well. So I guess, yeah, if you don't close that door, then some bad things can happen to you in your return.
Yeah, exactly. You just want it to be, and that's the thing. People have come back from the dead, so to speak, in mixed martial arts, particular because there's so many ways to get yourself back into the fight. Even if you're knocked down, you're hurt badly. If you're a really good grappler and you go over too slow or you hesitate to land that final shot, now the guy's on your leg. Now he's creeping up to a single leg. Now ends up, holy crap, he's on top of you now. And there's still 3.5 minutes left. Now he's clearing the cobwebs and he's elbowing you in the face. And you're thinking, I really should have thrown that shot away.
Let me ask you as you're
I
walking.
should have given him 2 more shots.
and back to Carr over him too. This Saturday, so commentating and when you're doing this aspect of the job, do you walk in with about 80% of everything you need, or are you doing a lot of prep prior to that?
Yeah. I'll be doing a lot of prep this week. We have fighter meetings in about 45 minutes or so, and we'll speak with about half the card, right? So that's kind of the first really big order of business when you get to fight week. And the card shifts and cards change quite a bit in mixed martial arts with weight cuts, with illness, with injuries and things. So it's almost not worth it to do a big deep dive, 3 weeks out from a fight card. Sometimes the fight card's not even complete yet. It's not even all the fights that you're going to get. And right now we've got 14 fights on this pay-per-view. Hopefully we'll end up with all 14, but that's the reason they stack these big events like this, is because they want to make sure that even if we lose a couple fights due to weight cut issues or injuries and stuff, that they'll have some backups to fill this card out. But yeah, I'll do a lot tonight, today, tomorrow, watch the weigh-ins, and then, I've got all day Saturday morning basically to lead into it. It's a late card since it's a pay-per-view, so a lot of time to and for me, it's really just taking a couple notes and just watching the last few fights of each of these athletes.
Right.
Paul, I wanted to ask you a question about acting. We're friendly with Kaitlin Olson and really everybody on Sunny. We've known him for a long time. And I texted her yesterday saying that you were going to come on the show today. She said you're the nicest guy on the planet and said to say hello to you. How did you get involved in Hacks? It's a really awesome show. And was it the Sunny connection that made that happen in the first place? How did you end up on Hacks?
Yeah. It was the Sunny connection. So I'm hanging out at home in Delco, just hanging out with the family, and I get a text from my manager, my MMA manager, Brian Butler, and he's like, hey, somebody reached out about an audition they need a fighter for this TV show. He's like, some girl says she knows you. He doesn't tell me it's Kaitlin Olson. That's the one that's saying, hey, he doesn't put it together. He knows who she is as an actress, but I think just the name didn't click in his brain. And so finally he gets me the name and I'm like, dude, yes, of course, this is legit. Yeah, let's send in a tape. The guy was originally supposed to be British. Michael Bisping was actually up for it at one point as well. And I was like, I can't do this audition side with a British accent on a day's notice right now. And then they needed me to like fly out the following week. It was last minute. They were trying to get a local hire from LA to do it. They couldn't find anybody that could halfway act and look like the fighter that they needed them to look like. So I had my wife read the sides with me. We filmed it and sent it in, and I got the job the next week. I flew myself out, had to get my own Airbnb because it was a local hire first season. So they were like, listen, this is all last minute. We'll make it up to you in the end, blah, blah, blah. Then seasons 2, 3, moving forward, it was much more legit. But dude, it was last minute. It was Kaitlin was like, "Oh, I know a guy."
You want to hear a funny story? We've all been on It's Always Sunny, and Hax has yet to call us. I can't figure that out.
It's Kaitlin you got to call, not me.
All right.
He's got much more pull than me.
I want to ask you, while you're running these two tabs with the boxing and acting, stunning, and so on and so forth, because your face, your physicality is your money maker in both in a way, but they can run against purposes. Were you ever like, I don't know, I better pull back from this because, I'm going to kill the acting? Or did that ever figure into the equation?
Once I got the first cauliflower ear when I was a younger man doing this stuff early on, I remember being like, okay, well, we're going all in on this.
On this fighting thing.
Early on, I had to make a decision because I was going back and forth. I would legit do a fight, and then I would do a production in Philadelphia at one of the local professional theaters, a lot of the small ones, but I've worked at Walnut Street. I worked at Philadelphia Theater Company and some of the smaller ones that were, paying a little bit more. And then I would do a fight, and then I would do a play, and then I would do a fight. And eventually my coaches at the time were like, hey, man, like you're winning these fights by knockout. If we just sit down and decide to do this, you could probably go pretty far. I never thought I'd be in the UFC, so I eventually hung it up. And then in my 5th pro fight ever, I shattered my nose.
Oh, boy.
Broke both orbitals, caved in my nose, needed complete reconstruction, plastic surgery. So that's when I was like, well, okay. Yeah.
How do you get all that to happen with reconstructive surgery and still look way better than any of us?
Yeah.
How does that happen?
I'm
Genetics.
pieced back together. I'm pieced back together.
Paul, you went to Ridley High School. And so I'm just trying to figure out if you're the same guy that I thought you were from like way, way, way back when you first started going pro. Are you from Briarcliff, or did you live in Briarcliff, or is that a different fighter that I'm thinking of?
Maybe different with the Briarcliff. I'm not sure where Joe Pfeiffer's originally from. He might be Briarcliff, that area type guy. But I grew up in Grays Ferry until I was 16. So I went to St. John Newman for 2 years of high school. And then when I was going into my junior year of high school, my dad got a promotion with SEPTA to be a control supervisor instead of a driver. And that's when we bought a house out in the suburbs, moved out to Delco. And then from there, that's when I went to Ridley High School. Then did community college at Delco, at the community college out there.
Community college, yeah.
PC cubed.
Then went down to University of Arts once I got accepted there. But yeah, I'm originally from South Philly, and then out to Delaware County.
Okay.
That's very cool.
Delco claims you.
Delco, yes.
Yeah. Hey, are there any local fighters that you haven't fought that you would like Eddie Alvarez, for instance? Would you have ever loved? I don't even know weight class wise where you guys are.
Yeah, we were same weight class.
Were you?
And we might as well have fought already many, many times because we trained together a bunch of different times over the years, and we were good sparring partners. And Eddie will tell some funny stories about sparring with me where he would just purposely try to get me mad, and he'd be like, there he is.
He's a great guy. He's such a great guy. I mean, he's a funny guy too, and we've had him in the studio many times. I wanted to ask you, because I saw this clip pop up and doing a little research on you, and I don't know the context of it, but it has to do with you finding ASMR comfort in watching people pour soda over ice.
Oh, I believe that. Absolutely.
Yeah. Is that true?
That is 100% true. Wow. My last fight that I took, so I fought Dan Hooker in New Zealand, main event. I really thought that was going to be the fight that was going to either make or break me, right? And it's exactly kind of ultimately what happened. I didn't want to fight for a while after that, so nothing was exciting me. I was getting into the triathlon stuff. I wasn't taking fights. And then the opponent for Rafael Dos Anjos got hurt. It was Islam Makhachev was supposed to be fighting him in a main event. And it was the week of the fight, basically. And I was really light because of all the running and stuff I was doing. And I decided to take that fight because I just thought it was ballsy. I thought it was the craziest thing. It got me excited to be able to step in against a former champ on literally 5 days' notice and see what happens. I rolled the dice, but the weight cut was brutal. I mean, I had to make 155 in 4 days, basically.
Jeez. And where were you at?
I was like close to 180.
Oh, wow. God.
So during the weight cut, my team's all there. Guy Eric Nixick, Duke Rufus, all the guys that my chef Larios, who now is Jelly Rolls chef.
Ah.
was my weight cut nutritionist at the time. And I'm like, call Christine. And I had her pour ice cold soda at 2 a.m. back east in Philadelphia to drink it in front of me because I was so thirsty. Then when I got back to the hotel the entire night, I slept 0 hours. I found ASMR videos of people drinking ice cold soda with like the microphone right here on their throat. So when they were chugging it, you could hear the ice.
You hear them gulping.
Wow.
Yep.
I was so dehydrated that it just kind of got me through the whole night. I was a mess.
That's wild.
Do you have any other ASMR triggers? Is that something that?
No, ASMR is definitely never, other than that evening.
Okay.
With that particular situation has never been my thing. I was a big Food Network guy. If I had a full camp, like leading into it when I was dieting, I would watch Beat Bobby Flay or Chop or
Iron Chef.
All of it was the only thing I watched. Then I actually found another YouTube guy, this guy down in Florida. He does CrossFit and stuff now, but he does cheat meal days during his training.
Yeah.
Would eat like 10,000 calorie days. I would obsess over watching it. He ended up doing a video for me where I got to pick the chef that he ate. Meanwhile, I'm cutting it.
That's crazy.
That's like
Food
OnlyFans.
porn. It's like
OnlyFans
food
stuff. You're
porn.
ordering this.
But they have to hit. So
my
I
God.
forget, Nick. You know the name of it. The videos where women eat.
Yeah.
Sure.
The Korean.
What is the Korean name for it?
Yeah, I got to look it up.
They're hugely popular.
Yeah.
Where they're just eating these hot pots and stuff.
Yeah, Jeff Goldblum did one with this Korean chef in L.A. I'll look it up, but it's fascinating. What's it called, Marissa?
Hold on. Oh, no. She brought in soda.
Oh, gotcha.
For Paul that we could pour. I don't have ice to pour it over.
Paul's
but
not fighting on
Is that a
Saturday.
Coke too? Because that was the one I wanted.
Coke had to be it, huh?
And to this day still, that's if you're an endurance guy, Coca-Cola has become your friend if you're a real endurance
Here,
athlete.
let's hear if this brings back
right.
any memories.
Everybody
to you.
quiet.
Hang on.
Got ice in there?
No, there's no ice, but we
It's-
can't get any. But hang on a second.
It just needs the ice.
Easy ice. It's got to. You got to hear some clinking. in it.
It's still going to be delicious.
He's getting blue balls with this.
Real quick, Paul. It's called Mukbang. So if you're ever
Mukbang.
looking to watch it, So it's mostly Korean, and there's a fascinating episode of Jeff Goldblum, The World According to Jeff Goldblum. I think it's on Disney Plus or whatever, Nat Geo. Watch that and watch him consume, and then watch other people consuming Korean food. It's unreal.
My mom watches these things, and she doesn't eat any of that food, but she loves watching those videos and people eating crawfish. She doesn't eat either one of
What?
these.
It's insane what you end up gravitating towards. I watch a channel of a guy who goes around and mows people's lawns for free.
Yeah, I love that guy.
Yeah.
I watch a gal who chops wood.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
somebody used to watch people vacuuming carpets. Yes. Lines in the carpet.
It's. I bet
This is entertainment. folks.
That is
This is
in the-
where we are.
That's
now.
in the ASMR realm, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'd be remiss if we didn't ask you how are you seeing this Saturday play out?
Well, I can't, since I am calling the fights, we are not allowed to give public predictions. But I will tell you that I do think it is going to be a bloodbath. I think both guys have made it clear that they plan on standing in the center of that octagon and seeing who's the best man.
All right, question about that, Paul, because
twice already.
I don't know all the stats and records of the fighters these days, but you got Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier, and they're for the third time they're matched up. What's the record between the two?
It's 0-2 for Max.
Okay.
His debut was against Dustin, and he lost via submission, and then he lost the decision for the vacant the interim belt for lightweight years back. So, but he had a much better showing his second time around. Now I think he's a 45er that's been moving up and down occasionally to lightweight. Now I feel like he's truly decided that 145 featherweight division is completely gone for him. This is also Dustin's retirement fight. He is from Louisiana. We are here in New Orleans, and I'll tell you what, it's gonna be chaos. Lil Wayne is walking him out. It's gonna be a whole thing here. Yeah.
Well, then he's going to try to. There's no way he wants us if he's retiring. No way.
And to me, it's actually more pressure on Max in particular for this one, because Max plans on continuing his MMA journey and wants to be a champion again. Whereas Dustin, I think for him, what's most important is just laying it on the line and going for it. And I'm telling you, that's why I think this main event, when I got booked for this, I truly was. I mean, I'm always pumped to get a pay-per-view, obviously, but this one in particular, I was in this division. I've always been a massive fan of both of these gentlemen. I always wanted to fight Dustin when I was in my prime, and now I get to call his last fight. So,
in your years as a fighter, to me, somebody who is like, I'm hanging it up, I want to go out big. To my perception, that'd be the guy I'd be afraid of the most.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like a berserker. He's got. I'm just gonna go crazy. Do you believe that, or is it?
Yeah, no, there is an element of that, but it's a double-edged sword too, because in a game where focus and emotion need to kind of be put to the sidelines in MMA, right?
Yeah.
You see guys a little less fight. They don't fight as angry anymore. They're more tacticians out there. These guys are real athletes at this point in the game. So you want to try to have that there simmering, but not overuse it, not let that be your only task. So it's a dangerous situation for Poirier, because he does want to lay it all out on the line, but that means you could get laid out early too if you overexert yourself, if you go out there and swing too big and Max slips out of the way. So I don't think he'll fight stupidly, but I do think he will fight extremely aggressively.
So what's wild about the UFC is you have these champions, and the champions will hang there for a little bit, but they don't hang there for very, very. It's not like the old boxing days, you know, like a Floyd Mayweather, who like nobody could touch that guy. Like you have people like GSP or like Anderson Silva, or any of these guys who were like, okay, this is the best pound for pound fighter right now. But that lasts for like 3 matches. You know what I mean? So I wanted to ask you, who's the scariest dude in the UFC right now?
Ooh, that's a good question. I gotta go. I really think Ilia Topuria is probably one of the scariest guys in all of the UFC right now. The kid is the most confident human being I may have ever seen since Conor McGregor in his heyday. Not selfie Conor McGregor, but Conor McGregor. And he's so powerful in such a compact frame, and we haven't even seen him really showcase his wrestling, his jiu-jitsu. He had almost all submission wins coming into the UFC. Since then, it's been almost all knockouts.
Wow.
He's now the lightweight champ. He was the featherweight champ. He beat Alexander Volkanovski, arguably one of the greatest featherweights to ever do it. He beat Max Holloway by knockout. Both of these guys, by the way, by knockout. Possibly one of the other greatest featherweights to ever do it. And then moved up to lightweight and knocked out Charles Oliveira cold in the first round.
Jeez.
So
Yeah.
That does sound scary, yeah.
All right, well, listen, Paul, we got to wrap things up, but we'll remind everyone UFC 318 in New Orleans is on Saturday. It's pay-per-view, and you can get tickets at UFC.com. So we hope it's a great fight, great night for you guys, and you have a good time while you're in New Orleans. You're going to be able to take in the town a little bit while you're there?
yeah, of course. So
Nice.
you just got in late last night. Flight was super delayed, so got a little bit of sleep last night. But yeah, today after fighter meetings, probably hang out and go get dinner with the boys.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Well, enjoy, man. We'll stay in touch. All right, brother?
Hey, thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
You got to take care. Paul Felder, guys. Very cool. Nice. I'm glad he's segued over into the booth.
Yeah.
And he's doing a great job there.
Sound
Super
like
nice
a smart
guy.
call, right?
Yep, absolutely.